Hi you guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be talking about all things block printing. Block printing is one of those skills that looks very intimidating, but is actually very approachable and simple once you get started. And it really doesn't take all that many supplies and can be used in so many different DIY projects. But before we get started, if you're watching this video and you are not subscribed to my channel, please consider hitting that subscribe button. I post new videos every Saturday and I would love for you to join me. Okay, without further ado, let's dive in. I'm still very new to block printing. I am by no means an expert, but I've used it in the last 2 quilts I made, and I just love the flair that it added to my projects. I've also seen people use it in custom stationery or party decor, branding. Really, the sky is the limit. I linked the kit that I bought in the description of this video, but I just bought a very simple intro kit off Amazon that comes with everything you need. So right off the bat, things you need are going to be these stamps, which are basically just giant rubber squares. Think of it like a big eraser almost. Then the carving tools. This is what came in my kit, and I've used it now for a couple projects. It works very well. I will say, I'm sure there are better quality carving tools especially that you could get, because these don't always give the sleekest cut. However, for the work that I'm doing, I don't have the hugest issue with it. If block printing becomes something that I include in my work more frequently, I might upgrade my supplies. Next, the paint I use. Now, generally, if you're block printing, a lot of people are using it on paper. So you would be using ink stamps. I, however, block print on fabric. So I use the Speedball screen printing ink. It also came in a little kit, and I love all these colors are so easy to mix and have worked really well on fabric. You're also going to want a roller like this to apply the paint onto your block. Full disclosure, and I'm not sure if it's because I use screen printing ink, but I don't love the way the roller applies onto my blocks. I actually use paintbrushes, well, actually makeup brushes, because they apply very evenly, and I use that to disperse the paint onto my block and then onto my fabric. Now that you have all your supplies, let's get into actually carving a block. You're going to grab one of your pads, and like every creative project, I love to start with some sort of inspiration, so I'm not going in completely blind. For that, I love going to Pinterest. So today I'm going to be carving a stamp out that I want to use on my kids' clothing. So a cute little star with a smiley face. This is some of the imagery that I've pinned for that as inspiration and a good jumping off point for this project. Things I like to search on Pinterest for block printing specifically is whatever graphic I'm trying to make, whether it's like a flower or a fish, searching that with the word lino cut, abstract graphics, cute kids graphics, simple graphic design. I have created a whole board on some of the inspo that I tend to gravitate towards, so I'll link that in the description for you guys. So you've got all your cutting tools, you've got your mat, and now we are going to draw our design onto the block. To do this, you can freehand it, or you can print something out, trace it. Today, I'm just going to freehand it, and I'm going to be marking it out in pen on my block. So I'm going to be carving my star out right here. Something to keep in mind if you are doing a design that has to be facing a certain direction, whether it's text or something that is not symmetrical that you want facing in a certain direction, note that you need to mirror your design. You can do that on Canva or on your iPhone. I never know how I feel about these as I'm doing them, so just let me kind of go over it here. I think I want it to be a little bit pointier, so it doesn't look as much like a starfish, but I do want it to be kind of an abstract star and not perfect. Maybe a little skinnier. Stars on Ozempic. And whatever line I pick, I'm gonna just try and draw that darker so I know while I'm carving, in case I get in the zone, I don't get distracted and I actually carve the right thing. Pretty happy with that cute little star, actually. Now it comes to carving. This step can be a little confusing because you need to visualize what needs to be carved away. So I want the star area to be the part that is colored, which means that everything around our design is getting carved out, as well as this face area here. Now, the way that I like to do that is to start with one of my finer tips and carve around the item like this, just so I can get the general kind of guideline mapped out, and then I can carve out everything else after that. I will also just say be mindful as you're carving this out, because the accuracy in which the stamp transfers with your paint onto your fabric or your paper is absolutely astounding. Every little nick, every little mark, anything shows up. If I were to make just like a tiny tiny little scratch or a tiny little mark, that would transfer. So just be very mindful during this step. Take your time, carve out your item slowly. Okay, I've got my general lines cut out here, and now I'm going to just deepen those lines, make them a bit more pronounced, and then I'll be carving out kind of around the stamp. I'm going to carve the face out on this design, and then I'm going to go wash my stamp to get all the pen off of it. I'm having a bit of a hard time making sure everything is carved out evenly, so that's going to make it a little bit easier to see what I've already carved out. Again, I'm going to be using the finest tip that I have to carve out this little guy's face. Okay, back after having washed it, and as you can see, there are definitely areas where I've like nicked the stamp or it's just not extremely even. And that's where we're gonna get super finicky to make sure that once it's time to actually use it as a block print, we like it. So we're gonna go over all these lines again, be very mindful of keeping my lines straight and smooth. And I'll be back once I've carved around and I'm happy with it. Now, this is what my wonky little star looks like. Not gonna lie, you guys, I may recut it out a little bit. I kept carving and carving and carving away, and now it looks a little wonky, but we're gonna test it out and see how I feel about it. Okay, I've got the stamp all carved out, and I actually made a second one that I think I'm gonna use instead, which is a little bit cuter. Right as I was finishing this stamp, my hand slipped, and I cut a little piece of the star, which, like I said, will definitely show up when I use it. So I will show you how this goes. Once my stamps are all done, I like to test them on whatever I'm going to be using them on. So I'm going to test them on paper and on fabric today, because once you test them, you can kind of see the little areas that you might need to tweak. I am just going to paint the paint on with a paintbrush rather than the roller. I'm not the biggest fan of the roller. I haven't really gotten the hang of it yet. And if I was working on a specific project, this is also where I would be testing out the paint color and mixing the paint color that I want to use in the particular project. That's a fail. It's always good to do a few testers just to kind of get the hang of how the stamp is going to work. All right, so this is an example of where you can see where I might need to carve out the edges of a stamp a little bit more. I'm gonna do another tester on fabric, but this is kind of what we're working with. All right, you guys, and there we have our little block printed fabric and our cute little stamp that you'll be able to use over and over again in all your projects. If you're doing block printing on fabric, make sure to consult the instructions of whatever paint you're using to make sure that you're setting it properly. The Speedball screen printing ink, you're gonna wanna let sit for about a day. Make sure that it's really imbued into the fabric, and then you're gonna wanna apply heat. If it's cotton, set your iron to the cotton setting and so on. And then you're just gonna iron it with a cloth on top. That way your ink will be heat set and you'll be able to wash it without it coming out in the wash. I've linked Speedball's tutorial on how to heat set your ink in the description of this video for reference, so you can refer back to it. But this is the finished product, and we have our lovely little stamp. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope this was a wonderful little introduction into the world of block printing. Again, this whole thing to me in the beginning seemed very intimidating, but once you get the hang of it, it's such a fun and easy little element to add to all your DIYs. If you like this video, please consider subscribing to my channel. I put out new videos every Saturday, and stay tuned because I plan on using this cute little block print on a pair of pants I'm making for my toddler. How cute is that going to be? I want to know, what are you guys block printing? Let me know in the comments, and thank you guys for watching. Bye guys.